Hey guys. So for this pick a plate assignment, I did a little research before deciding um, what plate I wanted to pick. To look for a plate, I decided to find one that would pique my interest. So I wanted to find one that had the most earthquakes or talked the most about earthquakes because I find them to be interesting. I wanted to go with a plate that tends to have the most earthquakes, which from my research is the Pacific plate. According to my research, where the North American plate meets the Pacific plate, um, the West Coast states tend to experience more frequent earthquakes than, like, obviously, well, most likely more than the East Coast. It is also said that the Pacific plate is the largest plate out of the 7 major / main tectonic boundaries, and it's more than double the size of the South America plate. The Pacific plate takes up most of the seafloor of the Pacific Ocean. If you look on the north side of the plate, it is subducted underneath the North American plate, which from that it has formed a convergent boundary in that area. And then if you move south on the Pacific plate, it forms a divergent boundary with the Antarctic plate, and with that it gives a rise to the underneath water ridge of the Pacific Antarctic. And then also from my research, the Pacific plate moves on an average of 5 to 10 centimeters per year in a northwest direction, compared to the Antarctic plate, which moves more than 10 centimeters per year. The North American plate moves about 2.3 centimeters per year in a southwest direction, so they're all kind of moving in different directions. So in terms of who moves more, it would go Antarctic plate because they're more than 10 centimeters per year. I was crying and she wouldn't stop crying unless I picked her up. So like I said, it would go the Arctic plate, which moves more than 10 centimeters per year. And then it would go the Pacific plate because they're at the 5 to 10 mark. And then lastly, it would be the North American plate because they only move 2.3 centimeters per year. As far as picking one, like based on how far they move, I would say that the Pacific plate is moving at a pretty good pace. They're not too slow per se, but they're also not like zooming by. When you think it's like just 1 centimeter will make a huge difference, especially over a long period of time. It all adds up. Sorry, I lost my spot here. Just like we learned from this week's lecture, the discovery of tectonic plates moving is relatively new in the terms of like studying the Earth. But one thing from my research that I found was super interesting was that according to the website sciencealert.com, plates under extreme stress can hit the gas per se, and they can accelerate and speed up to 20 times faster than normal. So like if you took the Antarctic plate, they would move like 30 centimeters per year if they were splitting and trying to like hit the gas under extreme stress. And then it also said that when the plates are about to split, they can move as fast as like a human fingernail grows. Mine are fake, but a normal fingernail grows about 1/10 of a millimeter per day. So that really adds up in terms of like a plate moving because they're so large. So I use the 2 websites I use were EarthHow, and then I use the Science Alert website to learn and get more information about the Pacific plate.